Hi, my name is Megan Gidley and I'm the Director of Marketing with Connect. Welcome back to the Get Connected podcast. Today, we're back at Windy Hill Pets, Kathy's Kattery, and we're going to be finding out about some common problems, some advice, and just more in general about Kathy's Kattery. Let's hear what Kathy has to say. Kathy, it's wonderful to be back again. Thank you for taking time to chat with me again. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful. It's good to have you back.
Yes. So I know we talked a lot last time about kind of what Kathy's Kattery is, but how do you maintain care of the kittens during each phase of their life at your cattery?
We have a nursery where the moms, when they're getting ready to have kittens, we put them in there. It's a smaller little area that they can feel comfortable, and it's more quiet and it's a little darker. And I have cameras so I can watch them 24/7. And then they'll have the babies in there, and then I'm usually, I'd say 99.9% of the time there when they deliver, because sometimes they need help with the afterbirth or cutting a cord or not to lay on their babies, or first time moms sometimes have their kittens in a litter box because they think they have to poop and they don't. This is a baby coming out. So there's a lot of real, sometimes challenging things that go on there. So they're in the nursery usually 3.5, 4 weeks, and then they start using the litter box anytime from there till 5 weeks, and then we move them to a bigger area so that you're not having to clean up quite as much. And then they get a little bit more area to roam, and then from there they've been getting dewormed from a few weeks on. The mom also, they get baths, and every once in a while we get fleas because it's the root of evil around a farm, and so we'll bathe them because they can't have any medication for that. So then we just bathe them and wash any of the larvae off, and we pick any fleas we find and put them back in with mom.
Awesome. So what vaccinations do you give here?
At 8 weeks, they get a 3-way vaccination, and then again at 12 weeks, so it's 4 weeks apart. And we give a half a vaccine the first time because we've had kittens react to the vaccines before and go paralyzed, so that sort of gets us a little gun shy. And then they get a full vaccine on the 12th, and then they're usually ready to go within a week or two after that. If they're Maine Coons, they stay a little longer, but the half breeds, they get to go, around 10 to 12 weeks old.
Are the kittens and the cats that you have here microchipped?
The Maine Coons are. We microchip them with an ID thing, and it's you were here to watch us,
yeah.
And it's a very big needle, and sometimes it slips out, as we had to redo, and you got to help me with it, so yeah. That was fun for you.
Oof, that was the first time for everything, I like to say, but I have never, had to be there while one of them was getting microchipped. You're right, that needle is probably one of the biggest needles that I've seen with it. So why do you have to use a needle that's that big with the cats?
The microchip is close to the size of a piece of rice, but it's, I don't know if it's plastic or glass or whatever, and it's got whatever mechanics are in there that you run a machine over it, and it says the number on it, and you can register this cat, and if it ever gets lost or stolen, then it'll come up in the database, and then you know where your cat is. If somebody stole your cat, say for example, got out one day and they took it to a vet, and the vet says, this is not your cat. That's what they do a lot. Those are more expensive breeds.
Yeah. So now when you're bathing the cats, how are you looking for any infections, fleas, or issues?
We usually clean their ears and their noses and check for ear mites or anything like that, and then we bathe. And like I said, if they have fleas, because a lot of the flea treatments nowadays do not work. And then we have a sort of an open cattery where they have indoor-outdoor runs, and then fleas can come from out there. So that's what we found best, because too many treatments is not good for the cat. Sometimes they get upset stomachs, and it's just a lot of chemicals put on them. So we just do a lot of baths, but then they get used to it. So that works out. And if there is any fungus, usually we see through checking them. There is a case you'll get ringworm or something like that randomly. Not very often, but you've got to check for those because you don't want that to spread. So there's a lot of things that you have to check through. And bathing just helps them be a better cat for one day if they do need a bath.
Yeah, they're not sitting there clawing at you trying to get out. Yeah.
Which they do. Some want to live, little kittens, but it's a lot easier when they're smaller.
Yeah, I can imagine. So when you do find fleas, how do you remove them?
We've got a couple different soaps. One we go to is Blue Dawn, which usually will kill the fleas if it sits there long enough and they're not squirming around when they're trying to pick them off with tweezers, and we put them in water, and then that's when we flush them down the drain. Or we have another soap that has pine tar and like a neem oil, castor oil, I'm trying to think what all else, and lye in it. that a lady makes in New York. We'll use that. And then there's other sprays that you can use, but we don't want to do too much sprays. If mom's licking them and cleaning them, then she gets to ingest that. So it's just one of those kind of things that not everybody talks about, but it does need to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get infested with fleas, but
No.
because they hatch in with, I don't know if it's 14 days that a new hatch comes, and they can stay dormant for a while and then come back when the host comes. So yeah, they're one of those things like mosquitoes that we wish weren't around.
Yeah, but I mean they are, so we got to take care of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then what are some common problems that you see, and how do you fix them with the cats?
We get all of our adult Maine Coons from Russia. So some of them come in, they're very feral and they haven't been handled much. So that takes a little while. And sometimes it'll take months before they want you to do anything with them. You still have to, but it's tricky. And then when they first come in, they've traveled for days to get to us in a crate. So they have poop and pee on them, and then we have to bathe them, and then we take a lime sulfur dip, and then we dip them in case they caught something from the flight or the courier, that they have. Cats came from all over the world into one location, and the flea treatment's one. We do, sometimes they get a cold, we have to give medicine for a cold. Sometimes they'll have like a yeast in their ear, sometimes they'll get ear mites. Brushing and grooming, they get mats sometimes. Hairballs, we usually put olive oil on some of their dry kibble, that helps with the hairballs. And just sweeping and cleaning up after them, because they don't always appreciate a clean house. They like to stir their litter and cough up a hairball every once in a while. But overall, it's really fun. It's quiet. It's not like a dog kennel that you got dogs barking nonstop. They're pretty quiet.
Well, that's good. That's good. And avoid the headaches.
Yeah.
So now I know you mostly have Maine Coons here now, but what about that breed of cat stands out to you?
Well, that's not what we started with, but we sort of evolved into the Maine Coons, and they're just a majestic cat, and they're one of the largest breeds of cats, and they're very friendly. They love kids. They like dogs. You can teach them to play fetch. You can harness break them. So I don't know. They're just an all-around really cool cat, and we like the European breed because they just have more of a fierce, wild look to them. So it just sort of, and they do market very well. People like them, and yeah, they're just a very popular cat right now.
I like them. I mean, they kind of remind me of dogs.
Yeah.
They're just like people's best friend, and they were all super friendly with me, and they had just met me, and I'm sticking a camera in their face.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was awesome. If you could give one piece of advice to cat owners who have never owned a cat before, what would that piece of advice be?
Probably don't start some that you don't plan on finishing. If you buy a new kitten and you say, I want to have the kitten and I'm off a whole week from work, and then you go back the next week, that kitten's used to having you there 24/7. And when you leave to go back, sometimes they can be a little ornery. So don't let them sleep in your bed if you don't plan to continue it, because they'll sit at the door meowing and their paws on there, just like kids when you're in the bathroom, it's like, mommy, mommy, mommy. But whatever you plan to do, just continue. Don't let it jump on the kitchen table if you don't want it to 2 months down the road. Or if you go to purchase one also, there's a lot of scams out there nowadays. So make sure you can video call people or video chat, and you feel 100% comfortable, because they're very smart out there, and you want to be able to come see the cat. Definitely, like I said, video chat. But if you can't get any of that kind of stuff and they want money and they're pushing for money, just stay away, because we've had a lot of customers that come have lost hundreds and thousands of dollars because of the internet scams nowadays. So just be very cautious.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And that's great advice, especially, I mean, even for non-first-time owners, that's great advice in general. Make sure you check into the source that you're getting it from, and you're fully prepared to take on whatever comes your way.
And the reviews, and see how many customers they've sold to, and how many people are, that type of thing.
How many people are satisfied versus not, and
Exactly.
a lot of times if they don't have any reviews, it's a great thing to live by. They're really relatively new, and
Yes.
I would wait until...
Yes. And then sometimes you don't have 100% satisfied, because sometimes you have trolls that go on there and try to not scam you, but try to, cause bad things too. So we left those up. We had that happen one time. We left it up on the website so people could see we were real, because we had people that had never been here that tried that on us once, and they went away.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
But that's great advice and great things to look into. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for all of this wonderful information and for sitting down with me again. I'm excited to learn more in the future.
Well, this is great having you, and I can't wait to see when we get it all put together.
Check out your drink. There's one of them in the sissy drink. Good job. Sorry. No, you're okay. Yes. Good job. Yeah. So you're gonna be on this other side. This side. Okay. I was
Thank you for watching our Get Connected podcast at Windy Hill Pets and Kathy's Kattery. Make sure you check them out on their social media pages that are linked below, and stay tuned to our Facebook page and YouTube channel for more. Have a great week.